Just be here existing, just listlessly walking through life.
Oh, and we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the College Football Uncensored podcast. Excuse me. Brought to you by.
I've been listening to a lot of Wedding Singer songs ever since Friday happened.
Wow, it's like 1998 in here.
It's a good movie, I guess.
It is. I mean, I haven't seen it in probably 10 years, but I feel like it would hold up. No, because it was set in a different time.
In a different time,
so I feel like it would hold up.
I've been struggling with a lot lately. Besides my own mental health, is the fact that so there's like this whole thing on TikTok because like my friends have been like, hey, you got to stop sending us reels on Instagram. Because you're like those are like all 6 weeks old and it makes me want to die. And I'm like, okay. So I started watching TikTok stuff and there's like this weird TikTok thing that is like, hey, this song came out 20 years ago. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to fucking see this. Because it's like all songs that I still listen to at least once a week. It's like, do you know that Finch, What It Is to Burn, came out 21 years ago? And I'm like, listen to it yesterday, bro.
Yeah, and listen, that is a fire track. That whole album, by the way. The whole album.
I didn't know the whole album. I could see. I never even took the time to listen to that album. How are you doing? I'm just fucking miserable right now.
So you're in shambles, obviously. We've established that.
Shambles.
Well, as much as the sports will allow you to be. Let's just say that.
I will say
I haven't seen you this down. Like I haven't seen you this down about a Bama football loss in a long time.
I was trying to figure this out the other day. It's probably been about probably 2016 Clemson.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh God.
Oh,
Mike Bratton. So I love Mike to death. We should bring him in here, to be honest, and just let him be a part of the show.
Well, he probably has the link since you sent it to him that one time.
No, but Mike always cracks me up because Mike will be like, he'll say shit to me. Like I love Mike to death, and Mike does a better job than I wanted. I'm not just saying this because
definitely us
friends. He does a better job, I think, covering this sport than like in football specifically than 95, probably more % of people like on social media and in this business, like genuinely, like, and I feel like I'm probably downplay or like that's like a low number because I've never seen somebody put out as much content as he does. But if this man tells me one more time about me hating on Tennessee with the shit he says about Alabama, we're gonna fight to the death.
Well, that maybe we should live stream that.
A fight to the death. Yeah. I feel like Mike would probably get in my head so much with his own words just because he's like there's a few people that I feel like are like better at words than me. That sounded dumb. That sounded real dumb. I sound like Trump. The best words.
And it was ironic because you were horrible with words as you said it.
I'm not good with words. You know what I learned today? That you can write spelt. Like I spelt that like SPELT. That's a word.
And that's not like a Southern slang?
No. It's like if you type it in your iPhone, it's like, hey, yeah, you spelt my name wrong. I know that because I spelled someone's name wrong. They're like, that's not, you spelt my name wrong.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But you could also say spelled
and spelt.
Maybe we've got some English teachers in the house tonight that could tell us the difference.
Hope we have no teachers in the house today.
Maybe I could ask. You know what? I'll get the answer. Let's talk first about Bama, though.
Here's the thing. I've been reading a lot of Clay Travis, and I figure out how I'm going to phrase this to maximize on the opportunity for us to get as many listens as possible. Okay, so here's our tagline. Did the media ruin Alabama's season on purpose?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a take. So tell me what you thought. Because first off, I'm sure it's been talked about ad nauseum at this point, but Brandon Miller just kind of no-showing for a while. Not entirely shocking to me because he's an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid that's going through a very traumatic experience off the court.
And let's also say this, because we have to in this day and age, just because of what Tyler just said, Brandon Miller can be going through a traumatic experience while other people are experiencing a traumatic experience. It doesn't mean that it's worse or more horrific or more traumatic or what the fuck ever.
Right.
But as you can tell, I am fucking exhausted with trying to explain words to people who are just mad to be mad. Especially
because you're so good with words that
best words. It's not even a good Trump. It sounds like I'm like, it almost sounds like I'm trying to do like the Batman. What's his name? I don't know what I'm fucking saying. I'm not good with words. We just said it. I'm sad. I'm sad because of the loss. I don't think I've been this sad since the 2016 Clemson loss in the Natty. And this is why I don't like fucking basketball, or like why it's so hard for me to get like really invested into every year. And I was this year, and I do it like, I feel like every January when you get into conference play, like I admittedly, like I watched a lot of like Bama's like non-conference and stuff like that in December, because you get that little lull between the SEC championship, which they weren't even in this year, and then like bowl games, whatever. But it's just really hard to care for 37 games. I don't know how baseball fans do it. Like I don't know how fucking Braves fans down here, like every fucking game, are like really locked in. Like
not regular season. Although I will say, sometimes it fires me up.
Beer in here.
How old is that?
It is not new. I thought that was the new one I brought.
Jesus, how old is it?
I don't. How old is anybody, Tyler?
Age is just a number.
Can't say that. No, so I was really upset, obviously, because I also have a fun little experiment we're going to play too. I have my friend Lillian finding the meanest tweets people wrote to me after the loss. Because I'm not an idiot, and I know that like people, I know that everyone was pulling against Bama, and I understand why, and I fully understand like the extra shit that went into it this year and all that kind of stuff. It was really frustrating to have to like sift through all that, because it's like, I think there's more truth coming out on like a daily basis. What is it? Fucking you, Lance. But I have somebody reading the meanest tweets that people said to me after the loss, which I think will be funny. That'll be fun for everybody.
I like that.
No, I mean, so I was just really sad because you get into this season where it's like, then you get into like the I've watched for most of my adult life, and I didn't. Bama's made one Elite Eight. It's the farthest they've ever gone in the NCAA tournament, and that happened in 2004 when I was a senior in high school, and I didn't even get.
That's still the case, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
What's that?
That's still the case. I don't know if you knew that they've only made it once.
Is this what you want to do? Is this what you want to do?
All right, continue.
About me, I haven't been drinking, but as you've seen on my social media and knowing me in my personal life, sometimes when I'm defensive and sad, I'll just react even way worse than what you said. It'll be like watching our fucking Facebook group come to life. And when I say our Facebook group, I don't mean that, since there's no point in being in there. But I just I've watched for most of my adult life. I didn't get to see that Elite Eight game because Bama lost to UConn in that game. UConn ended up winning the national title, I think, against Georgia Tech that year, which is kind of weird. But I remember sitting there at a baseball game and I couldn't watch the game. And then I remember growing up, I remember teams with Latrell Sprewell and Antonio McDyess and Robert Horry was a little bit early before me. It was early 90s. But then some of these other teams that were good. I mean, Bama was ranked number 1 in the country when I was a sophomore in high school for a week. But I've only seen them make the Sweet 16. I didn't realize this 3 times, really, since I've been watching it.
Wow.
They've only made it 3 times the Sweet 16 in the last 23 years. But I've watched them struggle to win 20 games a year. And this year they won 32, and it was so much fucking fun. It was so awesome to watch. I think they won 31 maybe. And what I hate about basketball is that you play for 37 games and you're the best team in the country.
Yeah.
You beat Houston on the road. You went I think 16-2 in the SEC. Both losses on the road against conference or against tournament teams. You win the conference tournament and regular season title in the SEC, and then you're up by 9 and you have a bad 8 minutes of basketball and it's fucking over. It sucks. I hate it.
Yeah, well, and especially with the tournament, it's not a true representation of who's the best team. I mean, obviously, look at the Final Four.
I love that.
Teams can get hot, and there's going to be some random team that wins the championship this year. San Diego State
looks pretty good.
UConn looks amazing.
Yeah,
Miami looks pretty good too. I hate to admit that, but I mean, so
who like let's talk about this for a second because I know that like, we're going to have an influx anytime Bama loses. This is a fact of the podcast. I've told you this before. When Bama loses, the top 7 days in the history of Saturday Down South's website, in the top 7 days of all time for traffic, have all been after Bama losses. All of them. Every single time.
It's because they're the number one program of all time, according to.
We're going to talk about that too.
247.
Yeah. But I mean, like, so I know that our numbers are going to like balloon up for this episode just because people are going to be like, fuck you, Marler. I hope you're sad. And it's like, motherfucker, have you been listening to the whole podcast for 2 years? I've been sad the whole time. This ain't nothing new.
Someone on this podcast has been sad the entire time we've been
one of us.
Yeah.
No. So I thought it sucked because of whatever happened. But I tell you what, man, this has been so much fun to watch. Like the tournament itself.
Oh yeah.
And like, I mean, like I was sitting there thinking before, like on Saturday night when FAU beat K-State, and you're like, and like the games have been great, like down to the wire. And like besides UConn, there haven't been like it seems like there's been like these back and forth. Gonzaga, UCLA was another classic.
UConn beat the absolute shit out of Gonzaga.
UConn is so good. I'm so scared of UConn. They already beat Bama the night before the Iron Bowl.
Oh, did they? I didn't realize they played. Yeah. I mean, look, Miami is playing really good, so that's going to be a good game, but I mean, it's tough to not back UConn at this point. And I just love watching FAU play. Yeah, no, it came out weird. I'm good with words.
I just love watching
I just love watching
bro. F, same. We got to talk about my OnlyFans stuff. I think
look, San Diego State is obviously kind of a weird, just stylistic matchup because they're giant.
They're huge.
Yeah.
They're like a massive. Am I crazy to think they're like a big team? Lockdown Kentucky's here. That's my buddy Lance Dahl. Like Lance, back me up on this. Like they're like physically big, right? Because some Auburn fan, of course, was like that is. It's not everyone else's fault that you guys couldn't beat the smallest team in the tournament. And I was like, well, smallest team in the tournament? I don't think that's true.
Right.
Also, I want to say congrats to Auburn for winning. I mean, so they didn't even make it to this weekend.
Oh,
Bama losing was a huge.
Go.
It was. Listen, I'll show you the fucking tweets to prove it. Every time Bama loses, it is a massive victory for other fans, and that's fine. And I know that San Diego State's big, but like because like that's how I felt about Tennessee losing on Thursday. I'm okay with admitting that.
Like, yeah. Who's big?
This is the weirdest podcast.
Feels like the comments are a little behind, and now it's just weird.
Yeah. Also, do you know that there's
talking about effing and
Wiki Feet?
No, I've never heard of that. What is that? That sounds. I don't even want to know, honestly.
I'm gonna tell you because one of my friends is on it, and it's like a page where you could just like look up someone's name, and people will scour the internet and find pictures of their feet, and then they rate them.
Are you a foot? Like you? Are you?
No.
Okay.
I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't understand why that's like attractive to people. Like just looking at people's feet.
It's like the biggest fetish.
It's disgusting. That's what it is.
It is disgusting. Because I have like as somebody.
Hey, look, I don't want to be. I'm not a kink shamer. I'm not a kink shamer. I'm just
let's not do that.
Yeah, you know.
If you like feet, that's cool.
Good for you.
That's
for
cool.
Me, not so much.
People like Vandy. I get it.
Yeah.
And feet. That wasn't very good. Anyway, back to the tournament. I thought it was awesome. Now I did see a couple of things. When do you want me to read the mean tweets?
I guess before we move on from basketball. So if that's now, then now.
Someone said, it really does show now it's the world against Bama. Y'all got some little man energy for sure.
Your man Locked On Kentucky came back with some serious facts that really do not go with what you're saying.
What about muscular?
I didn't know Ken Palm had a ranking for height.
Does KenPom have a feet site? Wow, it's cool. So basically what we just learned is, so KenPom, somebody said San Diego State is ranked 241st nationally in height. So basically what we've all learned today is KenPom is a fucking alpha female podcast co-host. Like if he's not over 6 feet, if he doesn't make 6 figures, if he doesn't have 6 inches, we are not ranking this team. Fuck you, KenPom.
Ken Feet, more like it.
241st? Like who? Wow, that's like, I'm so glad that.
Oh, now we're debating they're muscular. Okay, so we're debating.
Okay, so here's the mean tweets before we get on. And then I
wish we had some music to play
Final
with this,
Four, because I think the Final Four is going to be awesome. Even though I've seen some weird tweets, and I'm not saying this specifically of one fan base, but there's been one fan base that I've seen, and I don't think it's like how the whole fan base feels. So just hear me out. I just saw 3-year Letterman and then John Tweets Sports, 2 avid Georgia fans that were like just absolutely shitting on the Final Four, like how bad it's going to be, how nobody's going to watch it. Like I'm absolutely going to watch the Final Four, for one. 2,
yeah, no doubt.
Like
how's it going to be bad, dude? FAU is a fun team to watch.
So the exact tweet was from John Tweets Sports was this. Yeah, so FAU, by the way, is like a 34-win team that is first in the country in points per game. Like, they've been awesome, like, all year.
They've lost 3 games all year.
What did I say?
You just said how many they
won.
What
I fucking said, Tyler. You tell me. I'm sorry, I'm overreacting. I'm just upset.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Tweets Sports said, let's see here. Oh, here's him talking about Bama losing, of course. It's all fun and games. Oh, I think he deleted it. That's weird. It was something along the lines of like, it's all fun and games. Everyone wants a Cinderella story until you end up with FAU versus San Diego State in the Final Four matchup. So my thought on that is when FAU won on Saturday, it like sucked me back in, because I felt like I was so dejected and so sad all day Saturday and Friday night because of what happened and the loss, and just because it's over like that.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when Bama loses, like, I hate to say this, but usually when they lose like a national championship, like a lot of their losses to end the season have been in a national championship. So there's not more football to watch.
Sure.
Don't roll your fucking eyes. It's a factual statement.
No, it is. I don't see how that really compares here.
Because then I have to keep watching for 2 more weekends.
Okay, I got
and like pretend like, yeah. So, but I was like, man, FAU, San Diego State, or Creighton is going to play for a national championship in 9 days. This is what I was saying last week. Now it's 7 days.
Okay.
I think that's awesome.
And Creighton's not going to be playing for one.
Right. But this is what I said on Saturdays where they play. I know. But I was like, I just think that's awesome. Like San Diego State,
it's cool.
FAU will play for a national title, like in 7 days.
And basketball is so different than football. Like TCU versus Georgia. Like, first of all, like let's say it's FAU versus UConn. It doesn't matter about the size difference as much in basketball. It doesn't matter about the depth as much, because you're playing basically the same 5 guys.
Right.
So to me, like, it's anybody's game at this point. UConn obviously is the favorite, but like anybody could win, and that's what I think is fun. Like, I actually think it's really fun.
I do too, and I think it's fun because and my buddy Jeff was saying this the other day too. He was like, you could throw out like rankings and stuff like that like after the first weekend. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably a good point too. It's been a great March Madness. I love the fact that some of these like smaller schools are getting like on this big stage. And so then the other one was 3-year Letterman. He's like, let's just all admit what we don't want to admit. None of us are going to watch the Final Four. And I was like, I'm 1,000% watching the Final Four. And it cracked me up because those 2 people specifically they're Georgia fans. And it's like, if your take is the Cinderella stories that no one wants to watch, and you're 2.5 months removed from a 65-7 beatdown against TCU, I mean, it doesn't really add up. But I thought it was a fun weekend. I thought it was really cool. Texas blew it, which kind of sucked for their fans. But it's cool to see Miami and their head coach Joe Biden get like into That dude's 103 years old.
Texas hired the coach.
They did?
Coach, yeah.
Love that.
Rodney Terry.
Okay.
No, I'm excited to watch it. I'm kind of rooting for FAU in a way for a weird reason. I got family towards that part of the state in Florida, and it's a cool story. And I hope Florida State hires their coach one day.
Yeah,
he's probably too big of a name now for us to hire, though. But all of this is great and all, but I just want football and spring practice is kicking up.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Let's just do the Jimmy Fallon mean tweets thing real quick, and we'll move on.
Okay.
Up do you first, have them? Someone says, "You sound like you're dumb enough to pay for a free website." So I paid $8 for Twitter, and what I was trying to do here is because I was trying to sign up for our fucking CFB Uncensored handle because I didn't want to have a blue check mark saying that I had paid for a blue check mark. That's not vain that I am. And I was like, I'm going to sign up here, but I also need it for work because we're trying to post videos like moving forward, like in general, like that's my job. And we have to post them like on social media. You can't post them on Twitter if they're over 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Right.
Just bottom line.
There are advantages to having Twitter Blue, and I'm saying this because I also pay for Twitter Blue. More than just like having a check mark next to your name. You can do a lot more stuff with it. See less ads, get recognized when you're trying to interact with other people and grow your brand. Like people don't get that. I
didn't want the blue check mark on my name.
Just because you knew people would just try to.
What I knew was going to happen, which was this comment.
This guy. Okay. All right.
This one was pretty good. Someone said, Freak Boy is coping hard.
Freak Boy. Yo, one of the worst things I hate on Twitter is cope.
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 The copium right now is out of control.
Cope Boy out here.
Yeah, somebody called. So somebody. Oh, most of these are from the same person. This is somebody named Phil Fulmer, and it's Fill. Chris Marlar has severe little man energy. I wish I was small and skinny. I'll be honest. That's like all I want. So I had Lillian send me like I said, I don't think I threw out a number. I meant 5. She won't stop sending them to me now.
Well, maybe as we go on throughout the show, we could just keep reading them as she sends them.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. She said 8, and 4 of them are from the same person. So this is the best one. Titan Vol Till I Fall says, "I'm more beers deep than you are in your cousin." Notice that there's one fan base these are all from.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. After reading this tweet, I can only assume that no one, even in your fan base, takes you seriously. You're just like a Twitterer and nothing close to professional, although you try to portray that. Oh, yeah, Twitter Blue confirms.
Twitter Blue got you again, second time.
Take your copium, freak boy. Yeah, somebody a few weeks ago, some Tennessee fan called me a freak boy, and then I was like, please, everyone refer to me as freak boy from now on.
I love freak boy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, that's your basketball update.
By the way, the name of this podcast episode is going to be "Take Your Copium, Freak Boy."
I don't know if that's a good idea.
By the way, I looked up the difference between spelt and spelled. I know a lot of people have been kind of waiting on the edge of their seats for this.
Is it about witches?
Let me just tell you one thing. If you spell spelt, spelt, you're not American. In fact, American English, we spell it spelled. British English, spelt.
Spelt. That was bad.
I spelled it.
I'm realizing about myself is that somebody told me this a while back when I was trying to do karaoke one night, and they're like, "Chris, you don't have good impressions. You're just loud. You just say things loudly." It just seems rude.
It's like when you're talking to someone that doesn't understand your language, and you think that talking louder will make them understand.
Right? No. Where is El Baño?
The baño. You ever heard of bathroom?
That like time span, it's probably still happening since we're like most of our fans are in the SEC. Like, I'm sure it's still happening in like fucking Coweta County, but like that was the worst time period when I was like in high school and realizing like, oh, all white dads do this, and they're like, yeah, we would like some queso for the table, por favor, and you're like, bro,
now,
that
kids, that means
you keep calling him Jesus.
Please in Mexican.
Where is Albano? All right, freak boy. Let's talk some football. There's some stuff to discuss.
That reminds me of the Office episode where where Michael's like talking to what's the Mexican guy's name?
Oscar,
and he's like, Oscar, he's like, I'm Mexican. And he's like, I am Mexican. He's like, no, that's offensive. We can't say that. He's like, no, I am Mexican. I'm from Mexico.
I like the one where he's talking to the and also just I want to be very clear too. Like, there's stuff to talk about. We're gonna go back to 2 episodes a week. A lot of it's just gonna be this, not all of it.
Yeah,
but this is fun because
once we get into
but when he goes to Canada for that business trip, and he's like, yeah, go see what's it called when you go to a hotel, the concierge. He's like, go see concierge, and it's like Concierge Marie, and he's like, you look how you say radiance tonight. And it's like a white woman. It's like the woman like from Reno 911 that he's like talking to. It's just fucking hilarious. All right, we have football to talk about. We have a debate we're going to get into about the Second Amendment, and then we're going to talk about. I almost wanted to get into this. We'll talk about this another time. We're going to get into the top 25 programs of all time as ranked by 24/7 Sports. And then we have a bunch of questions from the audience that they sent in, some football, some non-football. When I say non-football, one person asked me what my favorite smell was.
Okay. Well, what is it?
It's feet.
Okay.
No, it's not.
All right.
I don't know. Anyway.
So spring football. What's going on? We talked last week about what kind of storylines we're looking forward to watching. I know Florida State's been practicing for 2 weeks now, so they're like they had their first scrimmage this past weekend.
Mizzou's already done.
Did I see that some like Kentucky doesn't have a spring game?
I don't fucking know. Is it like they're not doing a spring game because they're just letting Will Levis come back and throw more incomplete passes?
Take his dick out in the middle of the field and everyone.
Are you guys doing blue and white day? No, we're doing Will Levis dick day.
Yeah.
Just like
guys got the best dick in the draft.
This dude. I'm honestly surprised they haven't done that at some point. Like, you see this guy in shorts. I mean, I would probably lead the way on that. Like talking about it on we talk about the Chris Jones story way too much. No, but like I do want to talk about that because it's like a lot of people had their pro days. This is also something I want to get into since Locked On Kentucky's here, and I know that this person also has some ties to Auburn. And so when we say spring football, I think like the storylines that like I've kind of seen, like there was a post there from Heather Dinich that was kind of weird about Auburn's receivers, and how Auburn fans are going to need a lot of patience with them. I don't even know what that entails. Pro
Auburn
day,
and patience. Those things don't run, brother.
Can't spell patience without a fuck. There was a couple of pro days last week. So Bama had theirs, Auburn had theirs, and then Kentucky had theirs as well. Will Levis like put his foot down with the media and was like, I'm as accurate as any. This is one of my favorite tweets anyone's had about Will Levis. And he's like, I'm as accurate as any quarterback in this draft. And it was like, you can tell he's sick of hearing about it, blah, blah, blah. Next sentence in the tweet. Will Levis had a 62.4% completion percentage in 2 years at Kentucky. And it was like, just objectively speaking, sir, you are not. So Lance, I'm not sure. Are we allowed to talk about this? Yeah. Heather was at practice for some reason. And I can confirm Auburn's going to need some patience. Auburn's got some issues. And I don't know if people around the program really like Auburn needs, I think, this year more than any time, a big win. They need to beat. I'm not saying they need to beat Bama or Georgia. They need a big win for Hugh Freeze, like to have something under his belt. They get Auburn, or they get Ole Miss at home. Beating Ole Miss with all the stuff that happened in the offseason and the back and forth between those two fan bases, I honestly think, and those are two teams that are probably playing for somewhere between third to fourth and last place. Like, I don't think either of those two teams are going to be playing for a Western Division title this year, right?
Yeah, right.
I think that like winning that game for Auburn would be really big for Hugh Freeze, because I don't think that talent-wise he's got nearly enough in place for them to make a huge like marked improvement from where they were in year 1 or year 2 of Harsin. Now, like I say that knowing full well how bad the Harsin era got towards the end, I guess, and how, like they had a 5-7 season, that they were a bowl team the year before, even though they had a losing record at the end of the year. Like 7 wins is good for Auburn this year. It's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if their fans know that, but that roster is not great.
Who's the QB this year?
What's that?
Who did they bring in a portal QB? No. I can't remember. No.
Bobby Ashford.
Yeah, I think there's still going to be a second portal window, but that means that the QB does not, doesn't get a spring practice, whoever you bring in, and that's kind of tough at that position. You can plug in a running back in fall camp, but it'd be tough to do with a quarterback, it feels like.
Yeah.
I kind of want to throw this out there because obviously throughout spring and summer, we're going to be having shows and we want to fill content with all of what you guys want to listen to. And literally within SDS, we are referred to as like the people's podcast. Like we are like,
is that real?
Yeah. Like when we have our internal meetings that we're viewed as like the fans podcast, like people who are fans. And so we want to cater to that. So when you guys listen to this, drop us some comments on our Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to, and let us know how you want us to cover spring and summer over this offseason.
Yeah.
You want us to have, and if it's having beat writers or people that cover the team on as guests, tell us who you want to listen to for your favorite team. Yeah. We'd love to do content that you guys want to hear. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about The Office, Will Levis's dick, and it's just going to get weird.
That's the clip right there. No, I think the stories that I was like mainly focused on this week were probably. So Jalen Milroe was the starter. He was working with the ones at least when spring camp opened at Alabama. Thought that was interesting, but I also think it could simply be something just as much as Jalen Milroe was the oldest on that roster. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
I saw this, like Connor posted something. He did an interview with somebody in Alabama, and I think there's a lot of people. I've said it at points where I think a lot of people are familiar with like the Bama QB battle between Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. And a lot of people think it's going to be Ty Simpson.
Because of his 5-star status?
Probably.
Because he was the number 1 QB coming out, wasn't he?
What's that?
Wasn't he the number 1 QB coming out?
I don't think so.
Or he was a 5-star for sure.
He was a 5-star for sure.
Yeah.
I don't there's probably a number of reasons that I'm not going to get into why people like think it's like that because he's like we've also seen Jalen Milroe and we also saw him struggle. I think that we're probably making a little bit too much out of the sample size we have at Jalen Milroe, which is a 1.5 games. I said after the Arkansas game, let's keep in mind he was 1 of 4 for 3 yards. So unless he like progresses and improves a ton in the passing game, I don't know if he's the starter. But
unless they totally change, I don't know if Tommy Rees does his offense feature running QBs? Like, do you know much about that?
I don't think in the past it's really been like a staple of the offense from just what I've seen. Like they will run the football, but he's very big into misdirections, very big in using the tight ends. You're good. I mean, like, and I don't think Ty Simpson I don't think he was like a bad athlete. I want to say, I mean, like, let's just pull it up. Ty Simpson, he was the 3rd ranked quarterback in the country. He was number 26 overall nationally. He's a 5-star quarterback.
Name's Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
He's white.
Yeah.
All right. He's pro style.
That's what I thought. He has poise to his passing game in the pocket, but excels with his ability to improvise and extend plays with his feet. More of a passer, but you have to respect his feet as a runner. He rushed for over 1,200 yards and 15 TDs in his senior season in high school.
Sneaky athleticism. That's what I've heard.
As much as you want to say. But no, I do think that Jalen, like, here's the thing about Jalen Milroe, and I've said this repeatedly, and people keep forgetting it, I guess, is that, like, the problem with sitting Jalen Milroe, if you're the quarterback, the problem with sitting him is that we got sirens.
Chris, did you return the Blockbuster videos?
That was good. The problem with Jalen Milroe sitting the bench for you in this offense when you don't have Bryce Young is the fact that Jalen Milroe is the best athlete on the field anytime he steps on the field.
Dude, watching him in that Arkansas game was insane. Like, some of the runs that he had were like jaw-dropping.
Again, like, they had a spy on him when he hit the 77-yard run. Yeah. That's why I still don't understand. Like, Bill O'Brien, and I've sat here and defended him a decent amount at times because of, like, I think he got unfair hate. But Bill O'Brien really lined up against Texas A&M and realized he had fucking Jahmyr Gibbs and Jalen Milroe, both guys who are legit 4-3 dudes, and was like, you know what we should do? Let's not change a fucking thing. Let's just throw the ball.
Spread them out.
Spread them out, brother.
Hey, let me ask you this: who's the third string QB right now?
Ooh, what is his name? He's a freshman.
Okay.
Hold on.
If I'm a Bama fan, I'm watching how he progresses through the spring and fall, because I'm sure Saban won't name a starter until fall to try to make sure that one of the two doesn't transfer.
Right.
But let's just say Simpson way outplays Milroe. Mm-hmm. You got to think that Milroe would transfer at this point.
Oh, without a doubt, and he should. So they signed two freshman quarterbacks in this past class.
That's right.
Dylan Lonergan, who is from Brookwood, my high school's rival. And the other,
Dylan Lonergan sounds like a guy that everybody's gonna hate. Like, rival fans.
Well, it sounds like also
damn fucking Lonergan's out here again.
Dylan Lonergan sounds like the kind of kid that, like, got suspended because he was, like, burning holes and stuff with, like, a microphone, like a what do you call it? Like a, what's it called?
A Bunsen burner.
Dylan got caught making poison mustard gas again in 7th grade biology.
I feel like Dylan's gonna finish his career at Baylor for some reason.
Okay.
I'm just calling it now. I've never seen the kid play in my life.
Yeah. There's also, and they signed a 4-star named Eli Holston from Louisiana. No, so I think that, again, the problem with sitting somebody like, what's his name? Jalen Milroe. The problem with sitting him is that, like, you know that you're sitting the best athlete on the field on your bench. So, I think there's, like, it's almost more of, like, I hate to say this because it sounds so stupid, but, like, it's almost like more of a curse than a blessing in certain ways, because, like, I don't know if he's the best quarterback because everyone just assumes he's not. And we have the sample size where he had 3 turnovers against A&M. But, like, that's a big risk to take, that you're not going to play a kid who is built like that and has that kind of athleticism. So if Ty Simpson is the man, he better fucking be the man.
Yeah, and if he is, Milroe's from Texas, but man, I'd love to see him in some sort of offense that like a UCLA or something like that.
Yeah,
like he would kill it.
Yeah.
As a Bama fan, you would hope that he wouldn't transfer, obviously for selfish purposes, because you don't want to have a Ty Simpson injury away from having to throw in a true freshman, especially a guy named Dylan Longer.
It's like Adam Longer hands. Can't palm a ball. I wish he had longer hands. That was the worst.
That's tough.
Okay, so we're adding a segment that I'm not going to tell you about. We're just going to add it right now.
Okay.
Okay, because you weren't here for this. It was me and Gordy that were doing this when I said that we're doing our SEC spring reach around. Instead of like a whip around? Yes.
I'm going to opt out of this one.
This is part of our spring reach around.
COVID opt out.
We're trying to start incorporating more stuff from other conferences. And so I have 2 questions for you that have to do with other conferences. Okay. One is submitted from Alex Ansted, our, what do you call it?
Social media guy.
Yes, our social media guy. And the other is from a buddy of ours who is in the Pac-12, what do you call it? Region, who said, do you agree or disagree with these 2023 Pac-12 head coach rankings? These are from On3, okay? And this is what they have. What?
I think I saw this. But go ahead.
Okay. So Pac-12, and they actually have 12 teams, so good for them. Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, is last. Then Troy Taylor from Stanford. They fired, what do you call
it? Yes, Shaw's gone.
Wow. Jed Fish is 10th at Arizona. I know. You see the way it's spelled. It's awful and obnoxious. From Arizona. Justin Wilcox from Cal. He's been there for 6 years already. It's not been great. They had consecutive winning seasons in 2018 and 19. Cal is 10-18 in their last 3 years. It's pretty tough. Oh, yeah, you have them. Perfect. Okay, cool. This is way better than what I'm doing. All right. So
this is wild to see Deion Sanders on there.
This is where it gets interesting. So at 8, you have Jake Dickert, Big Dick Jake. Deion Sanders at 7 at Colorado, which I feel like is just like, man, you want to talk about like the benefit of the doubt that we're giving him. Chip Kelly at 6 seems like the biggest fucking disservice ever.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I guess Jonathan Smith has done, like, I think people would probably look at this at first glance and say, Jonathan Smith, like, this guy's got the plainest name ever.
Yeah.
Don't really, but like Oregon State, as much as I hate to say it,
has we're past it.
Put together a great program for what they are. Yeah. And Lanning, I think, is going to be a really good coach as well. I mean, he's had a great year 1, recruits really well. Everyone loves Washington's coach, and I mean, it's hard to argue with the top 2. So it's like, I actually kind of agree with the order they have it in. I mean, maybe you put Chip Kelly above Dan Lanning for now. I don't even remember who won that game last year.
Between who?
Oregon and UCLA. Did they play?
Oregon. Yeah, they played him it was at Oregon. Maybe, yeah. Wait.
I will wait.
They were okay. Why are they only playing it? Remember, this was a 10 versus 9 game.
Comment here: Oregon State went with the NCAA 14 generated head coach, and it's worked out quite well.
Yeah.
Jonathan
Oregon
Smith.
won 45-30 in that game. But it was like, it was a game. So this is what I remember, because I remember telling you guys, I was like, Oregon first half was like a lock of all locks last year. They were up 31-13 at the half. Dominated that game.
I like some of the comments on the Instagram, which makes a great point. Like, Whittingham kind of just beats everybody's ass in the Pac-12 and like ruins everybody. Like, right, Oregon last year, USC this year. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Lincoln Riley's tough to argue with considering what he's done, but head-to-head, Whittingham has been better so far.
Right. So if you're ranking them head-to-head, this is what I don't understand. Yeah. But I love the fact that Jonathan Smith's in there because he was able to turn around the Oregon State program so quickly. And maybe it's just a part of how unhealthy I am. I do have like a fondness in my heart still for Oregon State. And they are fun to watch, man. Like they've like, I hate using this word. They're a gritty football team. Like they go about their business in a very I think the work ethic, I feel like that coach and that program has, because they're kind of off in this like fucking foggy abyss up in Corvallis and just kind of go about their business, and they show up and they like, you remember what they did? You remember how like USC and Caleb Williams were in fucking hell in that game against Oregon State. They were in hell in that game.
Yep.
Beaver swag. I think he still follows me too. But no, Kalen DeBoer, I don't disagree with that. And also, he's going to look good this year with the quarterback and the offensive talent they have, and the offensive coordinator, obviously, coming back as well. I just thought it was interesting. I thought the 2 things that stood out to me the most, or maybe 3, Kyle Whittingham at 2 is not a bad spot by any means, but it just feels like I just feel like Kyle Whittingham is like an inner city stepdad. He's just never going to get any fucking respect no matter what he does. And I don't care how that sounds. And then Chip Kelly. Shit, that's too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Chip Kelly at 6, like right one spot ahead of Deion, seemed kind of like a disservice. All right, we have 2 more things, then we're going to get to the audience questions of the week. Well, we'll get into the first thing, and you should pull it up since you just
247.
Yeah, 247 ranked the top 25 college football programs of all time.
I've got some major beef with some of this, I will say.
Is it just where Florida State is?
That was one of them.
All right, well, don't pull up. Okay, so let's start here.
Yep.
Ole Miss at 24.
Dude, Texas A&M has never won anything.
They won a national title in the 30s, right?
No. Remember the empty fucking trophy case? They were like, Jimbo's going to fill this thing with championships. How's that working out for you?
Florida State is 13.
Okay, let me just I understand that Tennessee beat Florida State in the Fiesta Bowl in 1998, but let's not forget there was a backup QB playing in that game.
Okay, that has nothing to do with why they're 13th.
Florida State is a much better historical program than Tennessee. Much.
Oh,
I'm going to throw it out there.
No, get into it. Why? Why is that?
Well, let's be honest. Tennessee had a good year last year, but when was the last time they were really relevant in college football?
They're going to hate this. When?
I'm still waiting.
They were a top 10 team in 2015 or 2016.
Okay. Top 10. That's great. SEC championship?
Last one they went to was in 2007.
That's the last one they went to.
They lost, yeah.
Okay. All right. What about the last one they won?
That would be hold on.
I'm testing your knowledge here. I'm surprised you're keeping up. I like this.
I'm pretty sure the last one they won was
we'll hear about it if you're wrong.
1998.
Okay, great. So Florida State's won 2 championships in that time span.
I knew this was going to be just a thing between you.
I just oh shit! I went forward too fast, but I just that griped me a little bit. Really, just the Tennessee thing. I am very happy that we're in front of Florida and Miami, though. I will say that.
Okay, all right. So
I'd venture to say we're better than Georgia too. I'd venture to say we're better than Georgia historically as well, but recency, I got to go Georgia. But I mean, before the last 2 years, Florida State much better program historically.
I will say I was shocked that Georgia was put outside of the top 10 with like how much recency bias can play into stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this for a second. So I'm pulling up here right now, college football national champions. Okay, and I wish that's on the NCAA. I'm trying to think of like who has like the most. By the way, you know Princeton claims like 28 national championships.
Right. I mean, that's like all of Auburn's. You know.
They on probation? Is that why? Okay, so this only has. Oh my god. All right, so Tennessee. I'm looking at the NCAA right now, and it says Yale has the most. They have 18. This is on the NCAA's website.
Okay,
Alabama has 16. So that NCAA's official website does not count the 1973 or the 1941. 1941 should not.
As they shouldn't.
Right. Princeton has 15. Notre Dame
y'all
has
can't
13.
even be better than Yale, bro. Bama's fading.
Would you
Cope.
shut up? Michigan and USC both have 9. Harvard has 8. Ohio State has 8. Oklahoma has 7. Minnesota has 6. Now, I think
Minnesota not on this list.
Right.
6 national championships not on this list. This says the greatest of all time.
Right. Now Tennessee,
unless Minnesota's top 10, which I may have missed that.
I don't think they are. It doesn't say if Tennessee is. Well, that is pretty shocking. That Tennessee, like Tennessee, they won titles in the 30s, like a bunch, and they had some of the best teams ever assembled at the time.
You know what? I'll excuse myself from the 30s conversation. I'll remove myself. That's fair. Tennessee better historical.
I think that like historically though, also even I think Georgia just passed them for most wins all time in SEC history, like this past year. And you think about the depth that Tennessee's had to be at. Now, I will also say this, Tyler. You guys won in 2013.
Yes.
Right? 2 pretty similar programs, which is probably why you're triggered by this, is because like
Who?
Tennessee and Florida State.
Oh, okay. Well, I would disagree, but go on.
I mean, okay, I'll tell you why. Because in the 90s, you guys were both good the entire time. Now, granted, they played a real schedule, and you guys played in the ACC, the 90s ACC.
Yeah.
Right? And then Tennessee.
90s ACC was probably better than the ACC we were in 2013, to be honest.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. Those Barber twins went a long way
for
the University of Virginia. No, but so Tennessee at 10, I don't have a huge problem with. I'm shocked that Florida State, because it's not just that Florida State had like good numbers for like a year or so. I mean, Florida State was the most dominant program over a decade in the history of college football, like including anything Bama's done. I understand all the national titles, but from a win standpoint, I mean, they finished in the top 5 for 14 straight years.
Yeah.
And
I get it. It's not in the SEC, but SEC has not always been what the SEC is now. Let's be clear on that as well.
All right, let's go through the list. Iowa at 25 seems like a fucking travesty. I don't understand how.
No one's ever enjoyed watching Iowa play football, so for that reason alone, I wouldn't include them here.
No. Iowa is like watching watching Iowa play football is like watching the hot dog eating contest, because it's like
disgusting.
It's disgusting.
You're impressed somewhat.
I'm somewhat impressed that it's like, how do you guys keep scoring 2 points at a time?
Yeah. And it's almost like, how would you ever think of doing something like that?
Yeah.
Like, that's Iowa.
Just Iowa football is just taking a fucking hot dog, dunking the water.
Iowa's just taking a beating on the College Football Uncensored podcast tonight.
Yeah, they deserve it too. Ole Miss at 24. Ole Miss won people forget that like Ole Miss, Arkansas, and LSU for like a span of 7 years in like the late 50s and early 60s, all just kind of traded national titles and top 5 rankings.
People forget because no one was alive. Moving on.
Okay. Washington was good for a while. Also, Washington low-key has one of the best color schemes in the country. Wisconsin was very good for a very long time. A&M at 21 is very surprising to me.
Unless I'm wrong, I don't think they have any championships at all. So I don't know why they'd be on this list.
I think they claim one. I think it's like 1939. I think it's a year that Tennessee also claims that they won one.
I would love to know, and this is not a joke at this point, I would love to know the criteria that was put around the greatest programs of all time. The AP. So this is the AP polls top 25 greatest football programs of all time.
Can I ask you a question? And it's going to be really inappropriate.
Oh, God.
Do you think that they should separate football time periods from when it was all white versus, because a lot of these championships were won, including Bama's, when it was like,
not like real football,
right?
Yeah,
just like the story about Alabama desegregating their program is one of the most like fallacied. Like, wait, is that right? Yeah, not phallic.
Maybe. No, definitely not phallic.
Definitely not phallic. Like, it's one of the. What's up, Jeff Williams? It's one of the most. Oh, are you caught up on Outer Banks also, Jeff? We need to talk about that separately.
Stop chatting with people in the comments.
The story, we should bring up who's the fucking comedian that I love so much, that talks about Bama getting like segregation and how they ended segregation. I remember hearing the story when I was growing up. It's like Bear Bryant, he ended segregation in the South because he was like, you know what? I need to have him on my team, so we're gonna schedule Southern Cal, and they did, and they got beat by Sam Bam Cunningham. Sam Bam Cunningham had 2 touchdowns and ran for like 135 yards on 21 carries, and they beat Bama 42-21 in Legion Field. That's all true. And then afterwards, Bear Bryant brought in Sam Cunningham to the Bama locker room. Was like, this is what a football player looks like. And I just think about the history in general of like what like white Southerners try to tell ourselves about like what was great. And it'd be like, you know what? Like, it's like, okay, you know what? It's kind of like the fucking like laser show at Stone Mountain when they depict the end of the Civil War ending. Like,
Let's move on from this conversation.
No, but like, remember how the end of that whole thing happened? And it was like in the laser show, they like somebody from like the South, like Bo Jackson broke a fucking sword over his knee, and they were like, and that's how the Civil War ended. Like, that's
Bo Jackson
ended it. Have you ever been to the laser show at Stone Mountain?
I mean, maybe when I was like 8. I can't
remember.
They ran
the same show for 25 something years, and they would end every one with Dixie from Elvis and then Lee Greenwood, God bless the USA.
Yeah, remember that.
Tremendous. But when they did the Dixie like thing, like version of it, whatever. First off, you would have people out there be like,
right,
like you taking your hat off for Dixie, and then like they would show it, and it's like General Lee looking out on this battlefield, just destruction everywhere, and then realize like maybe you know what, maybe we made a mistake, and they show in the thing he takes a sword and he breaks it over his knee.
Bo Jackson.
No, not Bo Jackson, you idiot.
You said
Robert E. Lee.
You said
that's the clip. That's the fucking clip. I was using Bo Jackson as like an adjective or adverb or what the fuck ever. All right.
That's why I was confused. I was like, I don't remember Bo Jackson being in that. Like,
you imagine how much better that side would, whichever side he was on. Bo Jackson would have been a fucking game changer in the Civil War.
I know. Seriously, what an athlete. All right. Moving on.
We're not going to do the top 10 today. We'll do the top 10 next week.
Okay, good. All right.
All right. Here's my let's get into audience questions as we close out since it's been an hour. My first someone said this has been an incredible show. I've been on the edge of my seat the whole time.
I mean,
Freak Boy just cranked this should be separate lawnmower. All right, here's the question. The first question from Alex Ansett, then we'll get into the audience questions as well. Now, here's his question. Alex is an admitted Michigan guy, but he's also a Big Ten fan. And here's the question. Has Ryan Day's tenure at Ohio State been successful? Yes or no?
And oh, man, I've got such a great joke, but I don't think it's appropriate. I'm not going to do it on here.
Tell me why. Wait, what?
So should Ryan Day be considered a success at Ohio State? Is that what the question is?
Yeah. This is like a very hot button.
Killing it in the comments. Yes, of course. What are we talking about here? Has he been a success at Ohio State? Come on. He hasn't won a championship, but he's been on like he arguably, I mean, look, he lost the game, but man, they would have won a national championship last year for sure had they gone and played TCU. Like, recruits at a top 5 level. I think it's very tough to out-recruit the SEC at this point. So he probably recruits the best out of any other team outside of the SEC, and better than most teams in the SEC. I get that he hasn't put it together for a championship yet, but they're always in the conversation. Right. I think there's some recency bias with the Michigan stuff. I do think they got to get tougher, but let's be honest. I mean, I would take Ryan Day in a heartbeat if I was any program.
Yeah, no, I think you're fair. So it's funny because I think Ryan Day is the best example that you could have in terms of what recency bias is and how fucking stupid fans are becoming because of social media. And listen, I say that in a way that's like, I know that like fans, I can't stop reading this one comment. I know that fans like we're all, it's short for fanatics, right? Like we all get it. But this guy has gotten beat by Michigan against Jim Harbaugh in the last 2 years, with Jim Harbaugh being like a really, really good. What is this smirk? What are you doing? You're weirding me out.
Oh, no. I'm just reading my Instagram DMs now.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. We can talk about that Hooters waitress that texted me, by the way.
Oh, yeah. What was that about?
We'll tell you later.
Okay.
I was trying to impress her, and
there was a video of a guy on Zaire Golf that was like hammered at a member guest, and he just keeps trying to chip out of the rough, and he swings at it like 16 times and can't get the ball out. So anyway, sorry.
Okay. So Ryan Day, who's also been in the game coaching wise way longer than I thought. He's 44, right? But he's been a coach since 2002, which seems kind of crazy. So he's been the head coach since 2019. He's got a 45-6 record.
Yeah. He's been a disappointment.
Off the top of my head, I know that 4 of those losses, actually, I know all 6 of them. Do you know what they are?
2 to Michigan.
2 to Michigan.
1 to Georgia.
1 to Georgia by 1 point.
They lost to Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure on the record?
That's what it says. I'm on Wikipedia right now.
Okay.
Oregon
they lost to Oregon. Didn't they lose to Minnesota?
No, they were tied at the half.
Oh yeah. They almost. Yeah, that was a tough.
Yeah.
Notre Dame?
No,
I can't think of it.
they got waxed by Bama by 28. So you've lost to Georgia, who won the national championship.
Yeah,
You lost by 1 point. You lost to Michigan, who made the playoff both years.
They got crushed by Michigan both times.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was also a one-score game with 8 minutes left.
This year wasn't as bad as last year.
Okay, right. They lost to Bama, which is, whether people want to admit it or not, and there's only one fan base that seems to not want to admit it, or two. But that's one of the greatest teams of all time in college football history, the 2020, even though it's a COVID year. They lost by 28 in that game. They lost to Clemson in the playoff the year before, which I also believe was by 1 point.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
That was Justin Fields' like coming out game.
No, he
came out of the closet. No, I don't know. No, wasn't he really good in that game, or am I totally fucking that up?
He was great that whole season. I just wish that would happen like once. Like where a player would throw for like fucking 450 yards and 6 touchdowns and be like, by the way, I'm gay. Mic drop. It's his coming out party. No, so that was like, that would be an awesome moment for sports, but anyway.
And then the headlines the next day, it was a coming out party for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Clay Travis's head just fucking explodes. No, so they were 12-0. Ohio State was 12-0 that year in 2019. I believe that's the year also that like Justin Fields had like 40 touchdowns and 1 interception. Right?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So like I think that he's been really good. He's 45-6, but the knock on him is that like, well, he didn't win a national championship. He's lost like the big game, blah blah. No, I understand you're up by 14 against Georgia, but that's also that was the best team in the country who's lost 1 game in the last 2 years. Right. Like that's tough. It's tough to beat that team.
In their home stadium, essentially.
Right. So Urban Meyer, okay. Urban Meyer, when he was at like I think the knock on Day is that Day has done less with more because of the talent he's had. He's had Justin Fields, who's a first-round pick. He's had CJ Stroud, who was a Heisman finalist twice and also will be a first-round pick, and all this other stuff, and the talent he's had at receiver and offense. The defenses he's had have not been great, and that's not his area of expertise. Like, that's not his side of the ball.
Right.
They've been soft, and I think they've done a lot to get better at that. Now, some people have pointed out the fact it's like, oh, well, look who did against Georgia. That wasn't exactly a great defense. They gave up 42 points, but Georgia put up 46 points per game against ranked teams this year. I mean, they hung fucking 65 in the national championship game. Like, I think it's just the reason why people want to hate on Day is because I do think what Jim Harbaugh said about him has merit to it. With like, you woke up on third base and you think you hit a triple, because inheriting a program from what Urban Meyer has done to it, despite what Will Muschamp will tell you, is a pretty good thing and a pretty easy, I think, path to continued success.
Yeah.
45-6 in 4 years. And the fact that we're even having this conversation is fucking outlandish to me.
And to me, it's a lot of the Michigan outcomes is really where it's come from.
Right. And I still think he would get shit on if he got blown out against Bama. And I hate Ohio State. I do. I think Ryan Day is one of the best offensive minds, especially after watching it live against Georgia. I think Ohio State and Ryan Day are one of the best offensive minds in all of college football. I think he's been great. I really do. Yep. All right, let's
fan questions. Please.
Huh?
Fan questions?
Yeah, and we got to knock it out because I know it's been an hour. What? Clean your office? No. Somebody said I need to clean my office. Okay. First question. What is your favorite? Hold on. I'm pulling it up right now. Sorry. Entertain everyone. Tell them about Texas Pete.
Are they still small? All right. Yeah. The Texas Pete. That's good. Hey, if you guys have never been to TexasPete.com and checked out the website, the recipes, the sauces, the apparel, folks, it's called a hot sauce for a reason. The shit on the website, it's hot. All right. And if you go there right now, you type in promo code uncensored, like many of you have done, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
You can take 20% off the order of all those amazing things. Texas Pete has been a great sponsor for us. We would appreciate it if you would give them some love. Go to their website, TexasPete.com.
Harry.
Give us some love. Okay? So you're giving them love.
Yeah.
You're giving us love by typing in promo code uncensored so they know where you came from. We're giving you love by giving you 20% off the order.
We're doing that. We're doing all the things. Yeah.
So
everybody loves everybody.
If you like Texas Pete on feet, go to wikifeet.com.
Bro, that's the weirdest shit ever. It's a weird thing.
I just found out about it from you tonight. I'm going to go on it.
Okay. So here are some of the questions we got. Some of these just seem like they're personal attacks. When's the last time you had a panic attack at 3 a.m.? Are you going to the mall later today? All right, we're not going to take it seriously, guys.
Cope.
No, here's one of my favorite ones. So this is, what are your top 3 workout songs right now? And or what would your walkout song be if you had one currently? Because baseball season's coming up too.
Oh gosh. Man, that's way too tough.
How's that too tough?
Down with the sickness.
Wow. Nailed it.
I always liked Audio Slave, Cochise.
Oh, that's a song.
I think that would probably be my walk-up song.
Okay.
Workout song. I don't work out. I have a dad bod. I'm a father of 2. So, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll pass on that. What about you?
So my walkout song was Keyless Bossy.
God.
Like my last year. What?
It really was?
Yeah.
I hate you.
I'm bossy.
You know the other team was like, this motherfucker.
Dude, I was like in the best shape of my life, and I was like, we're putting Bossy on. That shit was what?
Backward K on that ass.
What? Yeah, did she? Okay.
What?
So for now, I don't know. I'm like really big into, I don't know if this has been my walkout song, but in terms of like my top workout songs, I have a like, I'm like really big into dance music again, I feel like.
They think I'm Big Meech.
No, Larry Hoover. I would say probably still to this day, like the song that pumps me up the most every time I hear it is, and this sounds weird, Dave Matthews Band, All Along the Watchtower, the live version at Central Park. I don't know fucking what it is, but like that song will get me hyped every single time.
You've got to be in a very low percentage of people that work out to Dave Matthews songs.
Yeah. My other one, it's like my most played still, like on my Spotify. I'm looking at my Spotify right now. Most played songs is
My Heart Will Go On.
10 Bands from Drake. Because there's a line in that song where he says, I'm in a house taking no calls. There's like some line about him not going to bed and him not know what time it is, which is like, I feel like a pretty consistent way of how I choose to spend like some of my Tuesdays and Wednesdays for no reason. It's not healthy, but I do like
Dude, Drake's got some bangers.
Yeah, right? For sure. Okay, here's another one. If you have this is kind of like some of the questions we've asked before. Who's next up on your bucket list for concerts?
Luke Bryan.
I hate you so much. You know, who are you listening to right now? This is the other question. Who do you want to see most in the present?
No, so Thursday I'm going to a concert here in Atlanta. A guy named Larry Fleet. He's a really good country artist. If you've never heard him,
I haven't.
If you like country, Larry Fleet, very good.
Yeah,
soulful voice. So these days I've been kind of on a weird country kick, and I'm not usually. I listen to a lot of the Luke Combs album that came out. I sound like you're just standard 37-year-old suburban father.
Yeah,
but a lot of Luke Combs.
He's good. I like him.
I think he's better than Morgan Wallen. I do like Morgan Wallen.
I'm tired of hearing about Morgan Wallen.
But then on the other side, I do like to listen to rap as well.
Sick.
Yeah, you ever heard of a guy named Lil Wayne?
There's like, I was telling like one of my friends the other day, and he's like, "You're one of the whitest people I know, Chris." And I was like, "I'm not that white." And I was like trying to defend myself, And they're like, Chris, you're one of the wisest people I know. And I just realized that I misquoted a Drake lyric from one of his songs, and then also said Dave Matthews Band all on the watch. Like a Dave Matthews cover of a song is like, that's what gets me fucking hype, bro. Anyway. So for me, I've been listening to a band called Arizona, and there's a space between all the letters. I don't know why, or if that makes me sound stupid. But
I've seen that, but I've not heard them.
Very good. Very good. And then I've been getting into Bleachers a lot.
Bleach? Like you drinking bleach?
So I'm going to start drinking, like if like things don't pick up soon for sure. But I mean, like I've been listening to a band called the Bleachers.
Okay. I don't know that I've heard them.
Yeah, you have.
The Bleachers?
Don't take the money. I think it's just called Bleachers.
Bleachers. I'm bad with band names. Yeah. I'm only so I'll never forget a face, but I'm likely to forget a name. Same thing with bands. Never forget the song.
Yeah.
Not great with the name of the song or the band name a lot of times.
In hindsight, I wish we didn't do this. All right, last question. Let's get out of here because that was just atrocious. What is your favorite all-time classic television show? This is from someone on Instagram. Hold on.
Classic all-time television show.
So they said favorite classic TV series. This is from Daniel DXNA.
This is one of your Instagram followers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Favorite classic TV series, and he means Andy Griffith, Lucy, or Dick Van Dyke.
I gotta be honest there, Daniel. I think that's your name. I've never really watched any of those shows. I mean, I may have caught them from time to time when I was a young lad, but not a big fan. I think if I'm gonna have to go with one, maybe I'd go something from my childhood that brings me a lot of joy. Let's go Home Improvement.
Ooh, good show.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that one.
We didn't have cable. We were too poor for cable growing up.
Okay.
So we just had a bunch of VHS copies of I Love Lucy.
And Cops.
No. So I got to see that in real life, thanks to my dad and stepdad. So that was different. But also, do you remember like
he was on the show, or
I think my stepdad might have been.
Okay,
like my first stepdad. He's dead now, though. Remember, we got that win.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Probably the biggest win we've had.
Who was I talking to today? Who was I talking to recently? God, this is gonna bother me. Someone was talking to me about how they love listening to our podcast, and they were like, "I don't know how Chris got to talking about his dead stepdad, but he's insane." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Who, me or the stepdad?
Well, probably both.
Yeah.
It's bad that my memory can't remember because someone just told me this like recently.
Okay, last question from Bo B21. Mexican or Chinese?
Ooh, God, that's tough.
It said people, to be specific.
Oh, people?
No, food.
Of course. Man, I think I got to go Mexican, but I do love Chinese food.
Yeah, I had Chinese food last night, but I think Mexican's the answer.
Yeah.
All right, we did our best. We'll do more of these for next week. That's pretty much it. So there we go.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Let us know who you want to be hearing from over and how you want us to cover spring and summer as we get into what's likely going to be a great 2023 season, the last in the 4-team playoff era. So let us know what you want to hear about. Peace.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Freak Boy Cope.